good guys always win.
Something moving at the speed of light, and it's calling to you. Then you can believe I'm coming on, like a megaforce.
It was the good guys always win, even in the end. I've been looking forward to this moment for at least 3 minutes.
and they're not going to shoot any of those rockets in them.
Wait a minute, I didn't ask the question yet. We're going to start all over from the top.
The first time I saw Megaforce, I think I must have been 10. That was the same summer my folks got divorced, and my dad left our family. Megaforce was a naive, idyllic film. You know, that makes people hopeful, even if things aren't that way in real life.
Who would get all these people together for a movie that wasn't popular, that wasn't successful, and that everybody has forgotten? Not only people who watched it, but people who made it.
I mean, nobody sets out to make a bad movie. We thought we were watching the next Star Wars.
And they get to let loose all those rockets.
Where the hell are those gonna come down?
It was dynamite. It was dynamite and gasoline.
3, 2, 1.
Glad he pushed the button and I didn't push that button.
I have a real legit opportunity to get myself and Ace Hunter on motorcycles in the desert. It's gonna be like the coolest thing ever.
Come on, let's do this. The good guys always win, and I have a feeling that Bob is one of those good guys.
All right, you saw from the trailer who we have on today. Bob Lindermayer is joining us, and Bob is, well, this is a special episode of Tales from the Video Store because Bob is awfully special to me in many ways. It's not just the fact that Dustin and I are in the documentary Making Megaforce, but Bob's a bro, and we met quite a few years ago.
Yeah, LA Comic-Con in person was the first time. Yeah,
that's right, man. That's right. Yeah, we go back into our archives. We had Barry Bostwick on. Oh my gosh, I want to say in 2021 or 2022. And he talked about this little engine that could, this Making Megaforce doc that he was making with Bob Lindenmayer. I don't know who the hell this guy is. And, if you guys know Barry Bostwick, you know that he loves to joke around.
Yeah, he's a ball buster for sure.
He's a ball buster, but obviously I was like, who's this Bob guy? I got to meet this Bob guy. We're corresponding. Flash forward to LA Comic-Con. We meet and like, I think this guy is my long lost brother.
Exactly.
So, man, it's great to have you on $2 late fee and Tales from the Video Store.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back for sure.
I obviously have a vested interest in your documentary, Making Megaforce.
Me too.
Which, yeah, you do a little bit, but and I obviously want to dig into it. But this project has taken a life of its own. It's been many years in the making, but it's finally finished. Finally, and hats off to you, man. I know, 2 years ago, Dustin and I were with you and Dave Campbell, your buddy, and we were recording footage here in Hollywood.
That's right, at Michael Jackson's studio.
Right, Westlake Studios, over off of Santa Monica Boulevard. And here we are now, a couple years later. We're like, movies take time. Big budget, studio films. Independent films take time. But documentaries seem to take the longest because it's all about your own personal funding, your own personal struggles, everything.
For sure.
Sure. But you made it happen, man. Hats off to you.
Thanks. Well, and I want to shout out when we met in LA for that thing. That was the only time during the entire production of 6 years that we actually got the star treatment. When we showed up to meet you guys, you had arranged it like we actually had parking with our names on it. I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I am a filmmaker. It was just one of those, so many lovely little moments. But like I definitely remember that because usually it's me schlepping my entire camera gear by myself and rental cars and all that. So that was amazing. That was a great day.
Well, as someone who knows how that feels to schlep your own schlep, and I never want people to feel. I want people to feel their best selves. You know, I wanted you to feel good, and I'm glad that's how you felt.
Yeah, no, it was amazing.
And we did it. We did it. I like what I've now seen your documentary 3 times. I saw the rough footage when you came and visited for LA Comic-Con last year.
Right.
I saw another version of it later on that year, and then you premiered it up in Seattle with family and friends and cast and crew. I believe in, what was that, February of 2025? Yeah, and here we are. As of this taping, it is premiering at the LA Film Festival on June 22nd, and tickets are in the bio to this in the show notes, so you can click on the link and order tickets here in Los Angeles. I believe in Glendale, right, Bob?
That's right. Yeah.
And people can order tickets. Get them now because I have a feeling it's going to sell out. It'll be showing probably at other screenings later on in the year, but you're going to have some very special things at this screening. We'll get to that later.
That's right. It's the world premiere and currently the only premiere
right
we have going. So obviously I've there's 40 other film festivals that are waiting to see how we do on this one before they green light us. The response from the film festival is very good, and obviously I'm out of my mind excited. It's real big boy pants time to go down there.
Look, and for everyone wondering, if you haven't seen this, if you're listening to this on audio, go over to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button while you're at it, and watch the trailer for Making Megaforce. And if you're wondering, like, what is this documentary about? Is it a documentary about a movie? It's way more than that. If I had to describe it to people, and you can correct me after I'm done with my little rant, if I had to describe it for people, it is one guy's opportunity to not only reclaim a special piece of his childhood, but also make himself a part of his childhood, this memory that just captured him for so many decades, and now he's able to be a part of it. Is that a good way to describe it?
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on. The thing, everybody's a fan of something like this, and and I say it in the doc too, right? Like if you had the ability to fly an X-Wing fighter or the Millennium Falcon, you would. And interesting, the original impetus for Megaforce, it was created, Bob Catchler, the guy who wrote it and shopped it around before Needham got it, was watching his kids play outside with Star Wars toys, and he was so bummed that his kids would never be able to actually, live through that because they're not on Alderaan or whatever.
Right.
So that was the original kernel of the idea, was let's make something like Star Wars that's on Earth. So, kids can dress up their bikes or whatever. And here I am doing that.
Right. Right. I mean, look, this film is, if you've never seen Megaforce, it is cheesy. It is a cartoonish film. It's comic booky. It's all those things that you would want in a cult film. It is the quintessential cult action movie, and glorious lines, et cetera, et cetera. We've covered it on $2 Late Fee. Our tagline, "The good guys always win," even in the 80s, is literally our tagline at the end of every single episode. So clearly we love this movie. Yeah. But you're right. Like 1980s, you couldn't fly a Millennium Falcon. But in the 1980s, could you dress up your bike and put cardboard on it and make it look like one of the awesome motorbikes in Megaforce? Yes, you could.
Exactly.
You're living the reality. And you did that back in the day, right?
Oh, I did that back in the day, and I've done that recently with a real one. So this is actually Barry's actual motorcycle from the film.
Y'all, again, if you're listening to this, go to our YouTube and you can see behind Bob is this amazing motorcycle, Barry Bostwick's motorcycle from Megaforce.
Yeah. Which, of course, the journey of how I got that is also documented in the film.
Right.
For sure.
I don't want to give too much away in regards to what is revealed in the film, but yes, it is part making of Megaforce. It is part behind the scenes with a lot of details. Dare I say, all the details you would hope to find in a documentary, but also tightened up into a nice package. You know, it's not a 4-hour film that you would have to watch in 4 installments.
Right. I wish it was. I could make a good 4-hour Megaforce documentary.
I'm sure you have the footage, and maybe on the DVD extras, it'll be there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm sure on the DVD extras, there's going to be a lot of things that you're like, well, I really wanted that. And thank God for DVD extras.
Yeah. Indeed, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely, the whole film. I mean, like you said, like, the original impetus being a Megaforce fan was just to, make a straight up documentary. And through the, studying the film and interviewing, like, any one of these people could have their own documentaries, right? Like Megaforce was not their swan song, right?
No.
It was just another gig. Like, I mean, there's people who worked on The Wild Bunch, The Godfather, Bruce Lee movies, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Silverado, right? Like, these guys, like, this was just another gig for them. And anyways, through the journey of it, the idea was like, okay, if I want to be in Megaforce, I need to kind of do all the things that these guys did on my humble scale.
Right.
And that kind of became the crux of it. And then, of course, the big revelation between me and Barry Bostwick's relationship was something that, right, like, ultimately, personally, for me, is the big gift of doing this crazy project I did.
Oh yeah, it's a really beautiful thing. I mean, look, through our show, we've made some really positive connections with some of our guests, but you go even deeper in that respect. How long ago would you say you started, like, from the inception of this doc? How far back does this date?
Oh, well, I decided to make the documentary about 6 years ago. Obviously, subtract 2 of those because of the pandemic,
right?
Which slowed me down a lot. But I met Barry probably 12 years ago. He was doing as an Indiegogo perk, he was forced to do a Megaforce commentary to promote this other film, and I was the only one who actually bought that perk. So the filmmakers were beholden to me only to make Barry sit down and watch Megaforce, and they record him making fun of him, and obviously that was an opportunity for somebody like me to be like, well, maybe I should come down. I actually know a little bit about the film, and that's when I initially met Barry, and we hit it off right away. I mean, that DVD commentary is on the special edition Umbrella Entertainment that came out last year or the year before. But ever since, right, like, at the end, like, it was the best thing ever, Zach. Like, at the end, he's like, hey, why don't I give you my email? And I was just like, yes. Now he's totally screwed because I'm gonna keep calling. He's gonna keep calling me. He's gonna keep calling me.
Keep calling me.
Yeah, and that's what happened. And then off to the races with this thing. So.
That's wild. Side note, Hart Bachner, who we've had on the show, got connected with him through a mutual friend, and I think, did I bring up Barry Bostwick to him in some way? Maybe I did. I don't know. But then it turns out they're like buddies, or they were buddies a long time ago, used to hang out all the time. And so that's how I got my connection to Barry Bostwick. I clearly didn't get to do a DVD commentary with the man, but you meet him, and for those who have met him at conventions and whatnot, he is the sweetest guy. He's so engaging. There's that old saying, don't ever meet your heroes, right?
Totally.
This is the complete opposite of that, because you met him. He was a hero to you. He still is a hero to you, and now he's your friend. This film is a buddy movie as well. This documentary really shows the kind of connection you guys built over the course of, like you said, 6 years. Yeah. And at the end, the finale is phenomenal. It's hilarious. It is so like outside of what you would expect in a quote unquote documentary, because like I said, this is way more than a doc on a movie that many people love. many people don't know about. So I think this is going to reintroduce a whole new audience to Megaforce.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's fun, and trying to kind of frame it. Like, I made a documentary, but what I really wanted to make was, Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, totally.
So I used all those tropes, or any 80s action movie. Yeah, I manufactured it in that spirit, despite it being a documentary.
Were you a filmmaker prior to this? Was this your first foray into making movies?
Yeah. This was my first full film. I've helped out on a ton of films, and I used to be in video games and stuff. And I was always the guy to get the cut scenes or the trailers or this sizzle reel stuff. So I've always been into, trying to make magic on camera. I just pulled out all the stops, right? It was, a good friend of mine, Lisa Downs, who's another filmmaker.
Life After Flash, for example, and
Life After Flash, Life After Navigator. She's doing, oh my gosh.
Grease, Never Ending Story.
She's hardworking, for sure. But yeah, she was just like, well, maybe you should just kind of put your money where your mouth is, and right, like, it's really easy. And again, it's really easy to make fun of a movie like Megaforce, or be critical of any movie you see, from the couch.
Right.
And it's just like, oh, I should really kind of take ownership of this and see what it takes. And, we could do a whole, I don't know if anybody would listen, but the struggles of independent filmmaking, especially in today's climate.
Right.
It's a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal to even try.
Right.
The fact that it's in the can now, like, it's pretty unbelievable. I look back and I was like, how did I do? How did I get that done?
Making an indie doc, like I said, it's like when you have a vision, not everybody sees it. You clearly had a vision on what you wanted to do. You accomplished it. And like you said, you can make a doc on the struggles of the doc, but and I'm sure there are many, but the bottom line is you did it.
Yeah.
And you have some great interviews with so many people, integral people to the Megaforce franchise. And like you said, for some, it was just a job. But what I've noticed when I have certain guests on the show is you bring up these movies that are obscure to their resume, and they're like, you watched that? And there was that shift from you watched that to you watched that. There's almost this emotional shift, and like, oh my gosh, that mattered to you, because the bottom line is this was a time in their life where they actually were making this thing. They didn't just go out and go, hey, let's make a piece of crap and see what for fun.
Right. Exactly.
And that's not what this is. Megaforce is a classic. I love it to this day. I think I even love it more because of my time I spent with Bob and watching it over and over again, getting refamiliarized at times. But these guys invested a lot of time, and it's a groundbreaking film in many ways. And you talk to the people responsible for some of those groundbreaking moments. And you also, and this is something that I really appreciate, you shine a light on people that don't always get a light shined upon them. And specifically like the stunt workers, say what you will about Tom Cruise and his jumping on couches, but the man, is spearheading this idea of getting the stunts an Academy Award and recognized by the Academy, which is long overdue. Because
it's a real deal, man.
Yeah,
a real deal.
Yeah, and you are doing some major stunts in this film as well.
Yes. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, in all the interviews, 99.9% of the people said, yeah, we'll talk about Megaforce. Like, I really don't know why you want to talk about Megaforce.
Why do you want to talk about Megaforce?
Right? I was in Terminator. You don't want to talk about that? It's like, no, it's going to be Megaforce. And there's that awkward moment. And then as they start reflecting back on it, you could tell, like, it was so important to them. I mean, as far as, the titans of the stunt world and a lot of the industry really, right? It was one of their first gigs,
Right.
you know, and they remember it, you know, especially with somebody like Albert Ruddy, right? Like I was just terrified to interview that guy. You know, you're not talking about Godfather. I'm going to put a hit out on you.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Albert Ruddy is a prolific producer of the Godfather franchise, right?
Yeah, Godfather franchise, $1 Million Baby, Longest Yard. Yeah, the guys, you know, along with these other like stunt folks, right? Like the real deal. You know, and you mentioned Tom Cruise, and he's one of the last kind of, you know, from that era of,
right.
of you know, really trying to bring a gift to the audience, right? And really working hard and really trying to do it in earnest and truthfully and stuff. And all these classic guys like that, like, you know, again, it was hard cutting some of their stories out of the film, because like it's unbelievable, right? Like there wasn't the system, you know, the studio system back then was, you know, collapsing and adapting to the new Star Wars blockbuster universe. And,
right.
And it was kind of the Wild West, right? Which is why we got so many different types of films and so many bold choices back then, which is why the decade of the 80s has its notoriety as far as film and pop culture goes, right?
Yeah, I mean, Bob was on a panel that I did last year at LA Comic-Con with Scott Mance and my buddy Diallo and Max from Ready to Retro, and it was about a documentary that came out last year called 1982, The Greatest Year in Geek History. Well, Megaforce came out in 1982. This poster on my wall, which is pretty bright, you can't see it, but it's Rick Springfield from 1982, because I believe Jesse's Girl, that was the year Jesse's Girl came out. So pop culture in general from 1982 is so epic. You know, Bob's got a Wrath of Khan poster behind him, and that I think was also from 1982.
That's right.
You know, and it's in Megaforce is one of those movies that is so unique. So I would say groundbreaking in many ways. G.I. Joe, the cartoon, had not existed up until that point. I think it came out a year after. But you know, with that guy like Al Ruddy, who's, you know, it's a numbers guy and he's a producer guy, he's got no love of the concept of what Megaforce is. Neither necessarily did Hal Needham, who's the director of the film. And it's so funny to me how we've covered a lot of Hal Needham movies on here. We've covered Rad, we've covered Megaforce, we've talked a lot about Body Slam, which is the wrestling movie that he did. It was his last movie. And we will cover that movie, I think, probably later this year, if I can get Dirk Benedict on the show. And then if we do, Bob can co-host with me for sure on that. But anyways, you know, this idea like of a film like this prior to that probably could have been dreamed about. Nowadays, no way, because everything's all about like the safety, right? Of, oh, we've got this tried and true tested franchise. We'll just go with this. But an original independent movie that is trying to make a statement, you know, it's unheard of, I think, nowadays in the broad spectrum. But 1982 is so special for Megaforce, and you really capture like what was going on during that time in a short capsule. And you pull what I love is you pull all the pieces of like, this is how the movie got made. This is what the movie's about. But here's all the other side stories. Here's the fans that it reached. Here are a couple of schlubs like Dustin and I talking about our love of Megaforce, and we kind of bring some, you know, humor to the thing, which I appreciate, and thank you for putting us in it.
No, you're the Shakespearean through line, right?
Well, yeah, you cut us from Siskel and Ebert to Dustin and I. I'm like,
you guys are the new guys. You're the new version of those guys. Yeah, exactly.
I think I do way more push-ups than Siskel or Ebert ever did in their entire life.
Definitely.
But that's a whole other story. Yeah, but you know, you got like Michael Beck in there for all of you Warriors fans.
Oh my gosh,
yeah. And he like, that guy has never changed as far as he's a star. You look like at Barry Bostwick too, but he's a star. When he looks at you, his eyes gleam, you know?
Yeah, he's so charismatic. There's, you know, I spent the whole weekend with him when we did that interview. He actually drove up personally to Barry Bostwick's house to hang out with him, which was just an incredible gift. And I put him up in my hotel. So, you know, we went out to dinner, and then like right at the end, before he was about to drive home, I was just so nervous. I was like, can I shoot you in a scene? Like not a talking heads thing, but I want you to come out. And I brought a Skull Bandit t-shirt, like the one he wore in the movie.
Yeah.
I brought my cowboy hat, and I was like, I just want you to like come to the camera and, you know, say, hey, I'm Dallas from Megaforce. And again, like just such a true professional, but you know, so we're on Santa Monica Beach, like shooting at like 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And it's just like, I'm directing Michael Beck, right? And he totally took direction. He's like, okay, look, like, where's my mark? And like, how'd I do? And all that. And I was just like, it's great. It's like, whatever you want to do is fine. Like, I can't even believe I'm here doing this. You know, it was so cool.
So cool. Like, you're living fanboy dream, you know, and unfortunately it's like with a price, because this movie was 6 years, like you said, and it's hard, guys. Like, you know, for everybody listening and watching, if you want to go make a doc, if you have a vision of like, I want people to know about this movie, I want people to know about Jim Cotta, so I'm going to interview every single person that's still alive and responsible for it. Awesome. That's great. But just know, it's really freaking hard. And, you know, Bob has his blood, sweat, and tears in this movie. I think it's like when Kiss put their blood into the record, you know, and you could hear it right in the record. You can hear Bob's sweat. I think that's a whole other Vista Vision kind of thing.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, the indie, you know, not to over index on it, but yeah, like I would go down, I would get 6 interviews in California, for example, but all over. And you know, like I shot them myself, I recorded them myself, right? Like I was just a one-man show, and you're driving around LA, which is like 6 hours from town to town, no matter what.
Yeah.
And this one day, so Bill Coker, who was a major part of a Megaforce, he ran the military unit down there. Anyways, amazing guy. He drove into town to meet me at my hotel, and that day I was also scheduled I had bought the infamous Newport buggy car, the Army Navy surplus Megaforce dune buggy that's been sitting on the one, isn't that what you guys call it?
Yeah, and it's hilarious. It is, by the way, that whole sequence is amazing. How he got that car, but where it was sitting, what has been done to it. You know, you always wonder what happened to these props. Well, you'll find out in this one. Yeah,
but right. So, you know, and the wheels were all, anyways, a 1 hour vehicle pickup ended up taking about 6, and I kept pushing Bill Coker off. And so, right, like all day long, like total grease monkey trying to winch this thing out, like race back to the hotel. Bill Coker's already there, right? I've got to set up. I'm totally greasy and sweaty. It's already like 9 at night. And I mean, luckily he was just so generous with his time, but that's just like one day, right? And then you're like driving to someplace in LA, like way out, to interview a stunt guy, and then the editor calls and he's like, oh yeah, well, I'm actually in town today, like come by. And it's just like, you know, just like nonstop whirlwind. It's like, oh my gosh, I've got to go up into the Hollywood Hills with a U-Haul van. Like, how am I gonna park this thing up?
Wow.
Yeah. Just many adventures like that.
Yeah, and that's the reality. You know, what you see on screen is a final polished product, and it looks great, and it's super entertaining. But all the things that get you to that journey, you know, like Barry says in the movie, you know, it's all on the wheel. It all comes around.
It's all on the wheel. It all comes around.
It all comes around.
I must say, my son Bodie quotes that all the time now, which is really fantastic.
That is fantastic. The more quotable, I mean, it's one of the more quotable lines of the 38 people who actually watched it.
Well, it's very zen. It's very zen.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's all Barry too, right? Like none of those lines were initially in the script. That's just Barry's kind of approach.
Yeah, and as you all know, if you've loved Barry's movies and or TV appearances, or you've watched his interview that we did for $2 late fee, he is that way. He's that guy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and again, right? Like, I mean, he's one of the hardest working actors in Hollywood still, and like with my film and so many other independent films that he starred in or participated in, right? Like he does it. I'm not going to broadcast that he's going to do your next movie for free because that would be unfair. But Barry does these things because he identifies the passion in the filmmaker. And he'll just put in the time, right? It's like a karmic thing for him, right? Like I have not paid him anything considering how much he's in my, right? Like who does that? Like,
but here's the thing, I that's amazing, but I think that's also a reality of what it should be when you become friends with somebody. It's not about, if it's not breaking his back and killing him.
Right.
Hopefully didn't do that, no injuries were.
I did not kill him, although there were some moments where it could have happened.
Yeah. The third act, the finale of your doc shows otherwise, Bob.
Yeah. That's right.
There are the moments like, oh my God. And Barry does have a cast on at one point, which doesn't get explained, but I have a feeling
that was not my fault. That was not my fault.
Did you guys talk about the thumb kiss at all in the doc?
We mentioned it a little bit. Yeah.
Do you have any more insight into the thumb kiss?
No, not really. Like Barry feels like he came up with that, which I'm gonna give that to him.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd love to know too. And I think Hal Needham would be the only one, unfortunately, to ask. And my guess is like Fred Savage says, like, I don't think he wanted it to be a kissing movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right, because if you look at a movie like Hooper that he did with Sally Field and Burt Reynolds, like there's love in there, but it's not about the love, it's about the action, Same with Smokey and the Bandit. And Hal Needham, for those that don't know, Hal Needham is responsible for some of the most entertaining, 70s and early 80s action comedies. What is now, you see a movie like Fall Guy that came out a couple years ago with Ryan Gosling. That is a Hal Needham movie now. Like that's what I think Hal Needham would be doing now. And there would be no Fall Guy like that if it wasn't for Hal Needham.
100%. Well, and even stuff like, Fast and Furious and stuff, right? Like, I mean, you can really, like the trailblazing that Needham did in the arena of kind of kinetic cinema and vehicular intercourse is amazing.
And we are going to talk about some vehicular intercourse in a moment because we're going to get to the kind of wrap up topic. But I love that by the way. And for everybody wondering, if you are like an automobile head, if you love vehicles, if you love like those how-to shows or like dudes working on stuff like on TLC or Discovery Channel, you're gonna get some of that in this doc as well because Bob is doing the work. There are some moments in this, and it's edited really well, so you're not like snoozing off. But there's moments in this where you see Bob working on this car. There's a shot where he's got all the parts to one of the vehicles, and I think Barry even goes like, I don't even know what we're looking at, But I remember sitting in the theater watching that, and going, oh my God, this is like maddening, the amount of like parts. I've been in Bob's home and I've seen the amazing toys he has, and they are amazing. But I've seen firsthand close up, and his son, his son like works on him as well. It's fascinating to me. So I'm very impressed.
It's definitely a Captain Ahab like mountain to climb, right? Like it's not like oh, this motorcycle just arrived at my house, so now I can just go out and shoot it in a movie, right? Like,
I bought it on
no,
Temu.
there was like 6 months of restoring it, and I mean any of the Megaforce dune buggies, right? Like they're all wrecks. They haven't ran since the movie, right?
Right.
So, and they've been cut up and parted out over time and stuff like that. So, yeah. I mean, it was important to me to, show the work, and of course, I could make a whole documentary about just what it took to get that car back on the road, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating to me, and you all are going to see that in the documentary. It's called Making Megaforce. Like I said, specifically, it comes out June 22nd at the Film Invasion Los Angeles. That is the official title, right?
That's right.
At the Look Dine-In Cinemas, and there's a link in the show notes to that information. But there's also a discount code, 25 Megaforce, and that'll get you $5 off the tickets. And that is also in I think the image attached to this. Yeah, the thing. But yeah, 5:30 p.m. You want to get there early. There's going to be some cool photo ops you can take with the bike. There might be other people there. I'm going to definitely be there for sure.
Definitely. Me too.
Yeah, Bob will be there. Hey, I'm going to be there. Barbara Streisand's going to be there. No, she's not going to be there. Who's going to be there? Anyway, that's a line from a movie, but it's going to be so great. It's going to be so great. Isn't this great? Because like Damone said, wherever you are, that's the place to be.
100%. Yeah. And I mean, the other thing, which is really generous, the film festival really enjoyed my film enough to where we're the final, we're the closer.
Closing night. Yep.
For the film festival. And right after that is an after party that's in the theater, that's free to the public. You don't have to pay for it. So again, fresh out of Megaforce, you can talk to all of us about mostly Megaforce. You could probably mention other things, so we may talk about them, but we'll all be there in our fancy dress and our gold spandex.
I was going to ask you, are you going to wear your gold lame jacket?
I'm considering it, yes.
Because if not, I would like to wear it. If you don't wear it, I will wear it for you.
All right. Excellent.
All right. So really quick, as we start to wrap up, on Tales from the Video Store, this has evolved over the course of this year, Bob. When Dustin, decided to take a sabbatical leave of absence temporarily, I will tell everybody that right now, temporarily, news to follow. Yeah. He's definitely coming back. But when he decided to take a leave of absence, we changed things up a little bit. And I was thinking, as Tales from the Video Store evolved, I go back to the 80s of I loved renting movies with my buddies and having a pizza night. We rented Little Caesars. We got a Little Caesars pizza. We got the cheesy bread. We got our, for me, it was mug root beer because my mom's like, no caffeine, no. And I'm like, come on, what's the big deal? A bag of Doritos, and you pop in some movies. And I like themes, I like having a theme movie night. So because Bob is such a vehicle guy, I said to Bob ahead of time, I said, I want you to pick one movie from the 80s that features vehicles prominently, and that's going to be your pick to bring over to my house. So, Bob, what's the movie you chose to bring to my pizza party?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I'm going to throw you a curveball here.
Good.
That's very vehicle-centric and near and dear to my heart. It's a wonderful film called Condor Man.
This comic book artist is asked to serve his country.
Are you serious?
But the call of glamour, danger, and an unlimited expense account tempt him. He finds the life of a spy somehow attractive. The smashing drives in the country. The exciting floor shows.
Little cloak, little dagger.
The nautical excursions. Condor Man, rated PG. Look out for him in a theater near you.
Wow, Condor Man. Dude, I haven't heard that one in a minute.
Yeah, as far as, as we're thinking, obviously there's tons of great vehicle movies, but, Condor Man is even under Megaforce, but the what they did with the vehicles in that movie is footage that can never be recreated again, right? I mean, it's a transforming gypsy truck into a sports car that transforms into a hovercraft that transforms into a hydroplane with lasers on it. Yeah, so that's going to be, I think that's the one I'm going to go with.
That's a great pick. You're probably like, who plays Condor Man? His name's Michael Crawford. No relation to Wayne Crawford, who's in the movie Jake Speed. If you've ever seen that.
Oh,
Jake Speed is great. And that has a great vehicle in it too, by the way. I think it's called the Mule.
Yeah.
Anyways, I should have picked, maybe I'll pick that one. No, I won't pick that one. I'll pick a different one. But yeah, it's got Oliver Reed. He was probably drunk when he made the movie, but who cares? Because he chews up the scenery. Barbara Carrera, who is beautiful. If you've never seen Point of Impact with her and Michael Pare, put the kids to bed and watch that.
And there's that guy who's in every Disney movie.
It's got James Hampton from Teen Wolf. He's the dad in Teen Wolf.
Right.
And it's Dana Elcar, I think, who was on MacGyver.
Yeah.
It's got a great cast, and it's a Disney movie.
Yeah, no, it's a proper Disney movie. That one kind of blew my mind too. And again, a lot of these movies, when you talk about the video store, right? Like, if it had a car or a helicopter on the cover, right? Like those are the ones that you would kind of like, I would always grab, right?
Yeah. Did they ever release toys for Condor Man?
No, they didn't. But Toy Story 2 has an homage. There's some of the toys in Toy Story 2 are Condor Man toys as like a little inside joke.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to go back and rewatch that, I guess.
Yeah, because there's like a little Condor Man action figure, and then his little car. His Condor car.
Wow. Yeah, they really blew it when they didn't release toys for that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, for sure.
Come on, a little Kenner 3 3/4,
Oh my gosh. I'm still waiting for him too, man. It'd be so good, right? Like the villain in that had the chrome eyeball. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And then his car that he drove had chrome windows on it. It was so cool because he had
so cool.
eyeball. Oh my god.
To match his eyeball.
God, so cool, right? It's no blue headband, but it's so cool.
No, I mean, look, so this is all obviously like, Bob comes over to my house. We're watching Megaforce, but I'm like, well, we're having a triple feature. What's the one you brought besides Megaforce? What's the one I bring besides Megaforce? And so Condor Man is a perfect one to do that.
All right.
Wow. Condor Man. Okay. So my pick is a little bit edgier. It's from 1986, but it features quite a few cars in it, quite a few like souped up muscle cars, but it is The Wraith starring Charlie Sheen.
One of my favorites.
He's not from around here.
Are you new in town?
Yeah. He's come a long way.
Hold on! You like living dangerously, don't you?
Now, he's going to do to them
Who are you?
what they did to him. Charlie Sheen in The Wraith, rated PG-13. Starts Friday, November 21st at a theater near you.
And Charlie Sheen, Sherilyn Fenn, Nick Cassavetes, Clint Howard, Randy Quaid before he went off to Cuckoo Town. It's got Matthew Berry. Matthew Berry actually was on the show. We interviewed him way back when, and we covered The Wraith. But The Wraith has like a Dodge Interceptor. It was a concept car.
That's right. Yeah.
And it was just like the shell, I think, that they used. And
because it was a concept car, so it wasn't actually meant to go on the road.
Right.
It was a show and tell car. And I believe they used two cars because there's one that's actually completely fake.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that like Jay Leno interviewed Charlie Sheen at one point because he tracked down the original car. Jay Leno did like a docuseries, on cars in the movies. And besides that, it's got a sick Dodge Daytona. And in 1986, I wanted a Dodge Daytona so bad. I was like, that car is so cool. Because that was the thing. You wanted something that just went fast on residential streets because, Why not? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, there's like T-Birds and not a T-Bird, but I think there's so many great
There's
cars
so
in that
many
film.
classic cars in there. Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's really strange, right? Like I recently rewatched that with my kids, and
Oh,
um, yeah, it's debatable whether I should have left it in my mind's eye more, because I was just like, like I was a muscle car kid, so it's like, oh my god, there's this new movie where a car kills people and it's going to be great, right? And I remember it being great. Like I wish the car dispatched folks more than, right? Like word should get out. Oh, the Wraith is going to pass you, park sideways, and you're going to crash into it.
right.
Right. That's how he takes out everybody in the.
Yeah, because the plot is all over the place, but the basic, well, that's not all over the place, but the basic plot of the film is Charlie Sheen, Sherilyn Fenn and her boyfriend get attacked by these car pirates, and the boyfriend gets killed and comes back in a wraith-like form as Charlie Sheen. And so by day, he's basically this, day and night, but in like physical form, he's Charlie Sheen, and he reunites with Sherilyn Fenn, and then he transforms into this kind of alien-esque earthly spirit in like a black jumpsuit with a helmet, and drives around in this car, and yeah, parks the car, and they drive into it and they blow up, and then like he basically picks up pieces of them along the way as car parts.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's like a science fiction version of Christine.
It is. And I mean, like, look, there are so many great car movies that Christine was one of them. I love that you chose Condor Man because it is so left field. And I feel like The Wraith, while we've given it a lot of love on this show, I feel like it's pretty
No, it needs more love
movie.
for sure. And it was really, yeah, it was about that car and the marketing behind that car. As much as like Mattel was behind Megaforce in getting it out there, right? Like GM, like bankrolled that movie.
Oh,
right?
big time. There's so many great, like, I think Matthew Berry drives a little MG, which was really sweet.
That's
too.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some great cars in that. And there's a great Blu-ray available of The Wraith with a behind the scenes documentary of like all the shooting locations.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, by the way, for in a couple weeks from now, 80s Kids Unite on $2 late fee. We're going to be talking about our favorite 80s movie soundtracks. The Wraith might be mine. Spoiler, The Wraith might be mine. So
80s soundtracks. It'd have to be Valley Girl for me.
I mean, that's not a bad one to use as your favorite, but The Wraith might be mine. And speaking of soundtracks, really quick to tie it back into Making Megaforce, 707 does the killer theme song to Megaforce, along with a few other amazing songs that you'll hear in the documentary because they were kind of unknown, or they weren't in the film originally.
They were unreleased tracks created at the time of Megaforce, but Hal Needham hated rock and roll. So
wow. Well, I mean, I guess, hey, it is what it is, right? And
right.
I think looking back, if he was still alive, God bless him, he'd probably say, okay, well, yeah, it works.
Yeah, it totally works. Yeah, so we definitely try to give 707 the due that I think the band was hoping for with their music behind, some big Megaforce scenes. So
yeah, because you were able to track down some of the principal players of 707, right?
Oh yeah, no, we had to talk to all the guys. Like we had to get, again, independent filmmaking, right? That was a 6-month odyssey to get the rights to use those songs, because like 17 people own them, right?
Right.
It's like everybody's got like a key in some random key in their drawer. It's like, yeah, I think I own a part of the Megaforce song somewhere, and yeah, holy cow. Yeah.
Can you finally sleep a little bit at night now that this documentary is done and in the can?
I will sleep. The digital DCP for the film festival is due on Friday, so I will be sleeping on Saturday.
Okay, good. And to remind everybody, Making Megaforce premieres June 22nd here in Los Angeles, Glendale to be specific. Glendale, by the way, great mall next to it, so you can go over there and get some, cool stuff or whatever. But no, Glendale's a great spot. And it's going to be June 22nd, 5:30 p.m. at the Look Dine-In Cinemas. Link is in the show notes. The discount code is well in the show notes. Please join us. Please join Bob, myself, the vehicle, the motorcycle, maybe some other people. We'll find out soon. And go to Instagram, our Instagram for updates. Making Megaforce's Instagram and Facebook for updates. My gosh, like Bob, you and I, we got our pizza. What's your favorite soda, by the way? Your favorite soda of the 80s?
Dr. Pepper.
Okay. Dr. Pepper and Mr. Pibb. No, that was Mr. Pibb was the knockoff of Dr. Pepper, right? I got my mug root beer because it's got no caffeine, so you can drink it. Okay, Mom. How about your favorite guilty candy? What kind of candy would you want?
Oh my gosh. That's a great question. Back in the day, it was what was the one that was white that had all Big Hunk?
Big Hunk.
Do you remember that? Where it's
I do.
Like a teeth breaker.
Like toffee, or not taffy, like a white taffy.
It was like a 60-year-old marshmallow. Yeah, I love that back then.
All right, so I'll get some Big Hunk for a couple of hunks, and we'll have a good old time. All right. Well, thank you, Bob, so much for being on the show. Go see Making Megaforce, y'all, and go watch Condor Man and The Wraith and Megaforce on your own time.
That's right.
All right. Until next time, we'll see you at the video store. Bye.
Oh, listen, I just wanted to say goodbye and remind you that the good guys always win, even in the 80s.